welcome to this week's edition of What's Happening with Leila in Minion Masters. So we do have a couple things that I do want to touch upon today, and if you guys didn't know, this weekly What's Happening series is just that. It's a weekly series that I do to cover all the stuff going on in Minion Masters, all things that are interesting, new cards, expansion news, any news from the devs, wildcard changes, you name it. If we see it, we talk about it. So this week we have a new card to talk about, as well as some changes that are coming to the new expansion, which is next week. So let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the new card that was revealed. And just kidding, it's not really revealed. But there is a teaser here that is called Resonating Blast. So for more information on this card, tune into the Beta Dwarf developer stream this Monday. But this is what it looks like so far. And it's pretty, it's pink, it's purple. It fits the Crystal Elf color scheme. You know, it already fits kind of something like High Mage Leila or Leila's cards, Arcane Blast. So it fits the color design and it fits the whole elf design pretty well. So to learn more about this card, you're going to have to tune into the dev stream, which I'll talk about in a couple of moments. The next thing we're going to talk about is what's happening with Accursed Ascension. Now, what the devs are saying here is that when they are working on the new expansion, they've been looking at wildcards. One issue that they found is that they thought the concept of Accursed Ascension was a bit confusing, particularly to newer players. They felt that the condition you need to fulfill this wasn't always intuitive and at times could feel clumsy. And the requirement of obtaining Spectral Essence was especially confusing in this perspective. It wasn't clear what Spectral Essence actually was at first glance and where it could be found. It could also cause confusion when a player obtained it without knowing what the mechanic was. So a lot of this tells me, you know, they're particularly looking at newer players who aren't exactly used to what Accursed Ascension is. And let's be real, there's probably people that aren't really that new who maybe still don't exactly have an idea of what it is. So how they explain it is this was also for cards that had Spectral Essence, but not Accursed Ascension. So they were saying you would receive that Ghost Particle Spirit from your Skeleton card, go to your Master Tower, but may not know what it was or if it even did anything. So the change that they're looking at making is, instead of having to gain 15 Spectral Essence to activate Accursed Ascension, they're making it so you have to spend 60 mana on Accursed faction cards to gain Accursed Ascension. So what they're hoping is that this is going to make it easier to understand. So instead of trying to juggle around between cards that would produce Spectral Essence to try to get to 15 Essence so that you could get to your Accursed Ascension, they're hoping that by making it spend 60 mana on Accursed faction cards gives you Accursed Ascension would possibly be easier for people to understand and a simpler mechanic. So what exactly does that mean? If we go to the actual game, you know, I typed in Accursed to see what actually came up as Accursed. And if you're not sure to see what factions are, if you click on a card, you're going to see Accursed. That's the faction. So like this is defensive spell there. Same thing, Spear Vessel, Accursed Minion. So that's how you would know what the actual faction is. So now they're saying you have to spend 60 mana on Accursed faction cards to get to the Accursed Ascension, instead of before where you just had to get 15 Essence. And if you weren't exactly familiar what that was, you know, we'll use Haunting Hugger as an example, is that collect 1 Spectral Essence on death. And again, collect 15 Spectral Essence to activate all cards in your deck with Accursed Ascension. The card that was probably most popular for using Accursed Ascension with was the dragon, having the dragon in your deck. Because what ends up happening is when you add this dragon to your deck, you start with the spell Never Slumbers. And as you'll see here, is that when you gain Accursed Ascension, the card swaps and gives you the dragon. And again, they put in parentheses there, is when you've collected 15 Spectral Essence. So they're hoping that this concept of Spectral Essence will be easier to understand, and that Accursed Ascension will be easier to understand when they get rid of the Spectral Essence requirement and pretty much just make it spend mana to get Accursed Ascension. So let me know what you guys think of that. Do you think that's gonna work? Do you think we're going to see the dragon in a bunch of decks, or do you think it's only going to be stuck with like Accursed Ascension decks? Are we only going to see specific Accursed Ascension decks now? I'm thinking because you do have to spend 60 mana to try to get to Accursed Ascension, that's probably what's going to happen. I'm thinking you're going to see Nevers probably in less decks now, unless it's specifically Accursed Ascension. And, you know, for the time frame it's going to take to get there, if it's just a straight Accursed Ascension deck, you know, if you figure out how fast you have to cycle through your mana, maybe 2.5, maybe 3 minutes to get there, depending how fast you cycle it. And that's just with a strict Accursed Ascension deck. If it's not just a Accursed Ascension deck, obviously it's probably going to take a little bit longer. But I'm curious to know what you think. Do you like this? Do you not like it? Do you think it's going to help at all? Did you know what Spectral Essence and Accursed Ascension was before we even talked about this? I would love to know, so make sure you leave me some comments down below. The next thing we are going to talk about, moving on from this, is wild cards feedback. So as we know, this is the first season with the new wild cards where you have to have 10 unique cards, and then you can have an 11th and 12th. Those would be your wild cards, but you have to have 10 unique first. So what they're saying is they've been collecting a lot of feedback. Overall, they've seen it's a positive step forward for the game, but they've also identified there are various areas that require improvement going forward. And they said for now, they're going to keep the rework in the game while they investigate the direction they want to pursue. In the meantime, they're going to continue to try and address the currently problematic wildcards in the future balance patches. Now, what I find interesting about this, talking about this whole wildcards, is I've actually seen more people not like the idea, not like the change of the wildcards, than they are for it, you know? So I'm just curious to know who was providing this feedback, who was filling it out. You know, was it mainly newer players that just like to put a bunch of stuff together and play? Was it people that have been around for a while? Was it our competitive community? You know, I'm curious who actually was filling it out. And did you guys provide your feedback? If you aren't happy with the wildcards change, did you make sure that you told the devs and provided your feedback for that? I think that's really, really important, that if you want to see change, it is important to make sure that we address that. You know I filled this out myself too, and it would be nice to see some other changes. Like, I honestly probably wouldn't even mind if we did one season where there was no wild cards, or if only specific cards could be wild carded. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that to see what it does versus the situation we have right now. But, you know, at least they are addressing it. So we'll see how that goes in the future. And the last thing is, like I said, there's incoming a dev stream where they are going to talk about the new card Resonating Blast, and that is going to be coming up this Monday. So they're going to showcase the card Resonating Blast, as well as a full preview of all the new content arriving with the update. So this developer stream is going to be on the Play Minion Masters Twitch channel, so make sure that you check that out as well. That way we can get a look at the new cards, the new mechanics. They'll probably show the new adventure mode. And I think that that'll be a lot of fun. It's always good to see this and ask some questions as well, too. One other thing worth noting is that, you know, we know that there has been a glitch, obviously, with drops, that we haven't been getting drops. You know, there's been a glitch with the arenas not acting appropriately. So the good news is that the devs do know what the issue is, and it should be corrected next week when the new season rolls out with the new expansion. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys are as well. It'll be nice having things get back to normal, at least as far as you guys earning your drops and as far as the arenas, because I don't know about you, but it gets confusing for me when I'm streaming and my community is there, then they're gone. Then they're there, then they're gone. So I actually really don't like that too much, but I am looking forward to it being fixed. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me this week on this weekly What's Happening with Leila in Minion Masters. Let me know your thoughts. You know, are you happy with what they're doing with Accursed Ascension? Are you liking the wild cards so far? How do you feel about the fact that they totally debated us on that Resonating Blast and you have to wait till Monday to see what that card is? And what exactly are you really looking forward to in this new season? Because also keep in mind, Battle Pass is going to be gone. It's going to be a new monthly season pass now. So there's definitely some changes coming next week. Leave me some comments down below and let me know what you think. Also, feel free to catch me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/LeilaFoxNation, where we can talk about all of this stuff, okay? Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider hitting that subscribe button, maybe hitting the like and leaving me a comment. All of that helps the Twitch algorithm to help more people see this information, and that in turn helps me out, and I greatly appreciate that. I will see you guys either live on Twitch or I'll see you next week in my next video. Thank you. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our video, you can catch us live on twitch.tv/LeilaFoxNation 4 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on by and be part of our community, and we'll see you there.